you are a community club. DCFC is a community-built club. And it will always
team is pitching a plan to revitalize a historic gem in our community, and it's a project that's driven by their passion for their sport.
State of disrepair right now. Concrete sort of crumbling a little bit. The bleachers.
Football club. We're at Keywood Stadium. This stadium was built in 1936. Simply put,
it's amazing to see just how far they have come. Years ago, they were playing over at Gas Tech, and now so many people.
The post and Stephon St. Louis is there to clear it.
Yeah, in the background, you know, they give us the 12th man. You know, it's awesome.
Games, fans to watch. We're happy to put on a show for all these guys that came out to see us play.
When we move, they move, and just communication is the biggest part.
It was great. I think we could have earned a shutout earlier against Sparta in the year.
Awesome. You know, the atmosphere is amazing.
Monday with the right foot. It's in the back of the net.
People know us now. People know what to expect. Now we gotta take it to another level.
Look, city till I die. Say hi to the bad fella. Hella smooth with the flow, so grab your umbrella. Yeah, we make it rain, bring the pain. Things are changing. Power rankings take a spanking, got them rearranging. They said Denise are all stars till we deboed all y'all. Ball of fist and brawl y'all. Yeah, we pissed off all y'all, and we thin but still winning. Grinning at the top, got up under head spinning, make that chin pop. Blue collar clocking in. They been mocking us for days till they step into the key, and they been leaving with a fade, doubting us, but then they swayed. Say we pout, they throwing shade. You will never have what we have, time to get the blade, cause we'll be cutting them up. Yeah, we're shutting them up. We ain't bluffing, tell you something, better knuckle up. Y'all ain't nothing but chumps, we put in overtime. We'll be putting in work until it's closing time. City till I die, talking blood, sweat, and tears. City till I die, we've been building this for years. City till I die, this don't happen in a moment. City till I die,
I got here early.
City till I die.
Jaime set up the link. It just started recording. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take some time to talk cash shit. First of all, Jaime and his stupid fucking hair. I'm telling you, from the moment that he came onto the show, him and his beautiful hair, he's no good. He's no good. He's not to be trusted. All right? Anybody who has hair that beautiful, you have to question what their motives is. I'm just telling you. Ooh, look at that. Ooh, change, man. Look, I'm a magical ginger. What you got there? Ooh, ooh, yeah. All right. No, yeah, Jaime, bad news. Don't ever eat a Hot Pocket around him, because the moment that you let your eyes off that Hot Pocket, he's going to snatch a bite right out of it. I saw him do it. I saw him do it to Alan. I saw him do it to Rod. See, because what you all don't know, because we don't talk it a whole lot, talk about it a lot on the show, is that we have a meetup where we get together. What's going on with these lights? Hold on a sec. There we go. Yeah, look at that. Oh, yeah. Look at that. I look so much better. Shit. Just got a fresh cut the other day. Look at that. Look at that fade, dog. Look at that fade. Man. I need to date me more. Sexy motherfucker. I'm telling you. Man. That's what it's about. Where was I? I don't remember what I was talking about. But anyway. Yeah, you know, these guys are something else. I'll be honest with you. I was a little iffy about letting Alan on. You know, you gotta get to know Alan, because you don't know Alan, he could be kind of quiet. You gotta watch out for the quiet ones. The quiet ones. Alan, I still haven't figured it out. I still haven't cracked the code, but I'm pretty sure that he's part of the Canadian mafia. Funny thing about Alan and Canada, when I first met Alan, for some reason, I thought he was Canadian. For the longest time, I thought he was Canadian. I don't even know why. I don't even know. I can't tell the difference between a Canadian and American. I don't know. You know, but for some reason, I thought Alan was Canadian for a long time. Rod, what can you say about Rod? You know, no, seriously, what can you say about Rod? Somebody's got to have dirt on him. Man, maybe I should hit up Roddy. I bet Roddy's got some dirt on his dad. man, because we don't go in on Rod as much as we should on the show, and you know, you gotta wonder, Rod's kind of, he's there one week, he's not there the next, he's there. You gotta question, what is he doing? Like, who has anything else to do other than record a podcast? So I have my suspicions about Rod, but yeah, if you all know any information, feel free to DM Garrett. Speaking of Garrett, Garrett's an interesting one. No, let's not even get to Garrett yet. Jaime, Rod, Allen, and those three guys, let me tell you, when I first decided to expand the crew, those were the first three guys that I reached out to. Good guys, longtime supporters of the club, a lot to offer, but don't trust them. They're all hiding something, and I'm pretty sure that all three of them have been plotting on me since the moment that I brought them onto the show. I just have a feeling. I don't know. I don't know where I get those feelings from. Anyway, and then who was next? Dennis. I want to say Dennis. Yeah, Dennis, and then it was Garrett, and then Adam, I think. Dennis, man, I love Dennis. Who's not to love him? He's Irish. He's Irish. Now, some have stoked lies, rumors, as they're called in some spaces, that I have some tension or I have some heat toward the Irish. No. Not really. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm smart enough to know that Dennis doesn't represent the entire Irish community, because if Dennis represented the whole Irish community, they'd be fucked. I mean, seriously, this guy, all he does is sit around in a belly short and eat beef jerky and drink 7-Up all day. Trust me. A lot of people don't know that, but I know him in ways that you all don't know him. That's all he does. Belly shirts, 7-Up, beef jerky. And he watches Taylor Swift on YouTube. He just goes to Taylor Swift and he clicks that play all, and he just cycles it forever. And he falls asleep with drool all over his belly shirt's usually like a Taylor Swift shirt from one of her concerts with his belly button. Keep that between us. What up, my friend?
Hey.
I guess we're already recording. I mean, I don't, just kind of sat here in silence for the last 5 minutes and just waited on you guys. Man, it's just a pleasure to be here.
Guest appearance by Red.
How you doing, my man?
Doing pretty good. I wish I didn't drink so much gin last night.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, man, it was rough this morning.
Yeah.
I dragged my ass into the office, and I don't know why.
I was pretty productive. I actually, I went to the clubhouse, but I left the clubhouse at halftime because I was just drained. I was drained, and I was yawned. First of all, I got to the clubhouse at like 5. Because he said it opened up at 5, so in my mind, 5 o'clock they're open. Oh, so the match is at 7, and then we're there, and then like, oh, the match is at 8. So by the time the match came, I was already yawning, just like an old man. Ended up going home at halftime, and I think I probably scared the shit out of my neighbors, as much screaming as I did through the city. But I guess we'll talk more about that. What's up, Garrett? Hey, Jaime set up the link, so.
It's one of those you get on and it's automatically fucking recording type thing.
Yeah, me and Adam just got in here at the same time, so we just happened to drop in, so we just started chatting.
I think it's one of those wild ass things of last night. Just you were talking about it. I just overheard you like talking about how wild last night was. It's one of those things of like the game was happening and we're 2-0 down, and we're like, okay, this could be really fucking ugly. and then should have. Yeah, they could have called a foul, but they didn't, and they let Ryan Williams. Is that the best? That I mean, has there been a better or close to debut City goal for anyone?
Oh man,
I don't think so.
That was unreal.
I think.
Did he even like touch the ball much before that? Even
he just basically I wanted to see. I don't know how many steps he took going into it because there's this camera angle, right? And then all of a sudden you see, and you're like, what the fuck? And then it just goes right in. You're like, okay. I think it was a wild night to say the least. Red, how packed was the clubhouse last night?
It wasn't as packed as it should have been.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was disappointing. It's irritating, but you know, I won't somber the mood with all my bitching about people needing to support our fucking clubhouse, but that's all me.
And you know what? We're also not going to sour the mood and talk about what happened the last 2 weeks because, yeah, you know what? We shot our mouth and 2 weeks ago about Pittsburgh, and the club let us down for that. We're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about rainy conditions, and you know, at least we got a clean sheet. We're going to talk about the glorious that was last night and what's to come. We're missing. Okay, so we got 5 of the Magnificent 7 here, or Unmagnificent, whatever it calls it on there. Jaime and Den are not here yet.
Can we swap out Jaime and Den for Adam?
We got Adam here. I mean, we got the man who I feel like is producing 1 to 5 things almost every fucking day of the week now. In addition to supporter shit. Yeah. Just dialed in. And I'm not even talking about his European loves yet, what potential stress he's got over these next couple weeks. But
fuck off, Alan.
Anything.
But yeah, we got Red, we got Alan, we got Adam, we got Rod, Garrett here. Wednesday night. You know it's a special night, special tunnel talk. What I'm holding off watching as Adam calls my minor league wrestling.
Lower league wrestling.
To join the fam for some tunnel talk. Why don't we just you know, we've seen it everywhere. We kind of talked all about it. We could talk about X's and O's, but maybe why don't we just start talking off about how we were all feeling during that match, how we're feeling afterwards, what is Detroit City moving on to the round of 16 in the U.S. Open Cup last night, knocking out the defending champions, Houston Dynamo. The Dynamo's chances to repeat went up like the challenger.
Hey, Garrett.
Yep.
It's also official. Indy 11 beat San Antonio, so we are facing Indy 11 in the next round.
So, Geezer, you fucked up in the club cat. So we'll see you October 26th and not May 21st or 22nd. So we get to go to 11. We get to go. I would say to 11 Park. That's too soon for Indy 11 fans. We're gonna go to Carroll Track and Field Stadium.
I didn't even comprehend that with all this fuckhousery that's going on. That we're playing Indy 11 now. I didn't even think about that possibility to smack fucking wannabe MLS squad.
And now with their new billionaire fucking owner now. So
yeah.
With a capital B.
Yeah.
So
are we gonna see the giant Don Garber life-size oversized heads at the game?
Oh my god.
You know,
anybody going down there should print off giant Garber heads.
Oh my god.
Oh god damn it. So yeah, we're not even I don't want to even talk about the whole indie stuff now. Maybe we might if people want to talk about it later we can. Last night though, 85-degree weather, humid. a rotated lineup.
I just got a text from Harry.
Skeezer, what did he say?
He said, Harry just texted me at 9:06 today and said, so glad I did not talk shit last night when you guys were down. He said something else, but I won't put him on blast.
You know what?
I'll just take a screenshot of that shit and hold it up.
Wait, who else has got the Twitter? Now we'll talk about it because I think who else has Twitter creds that could drop that in there since Reds asked us to switch shit up. But debut start for Ryan Williams. Victor Becerra getting the start. Matt Sheldon in a right wing. No Brent Levi's out due to the red card, and Stephen Carroll back in action. Dynamo jumped out to it. Carlos Saldana in goal. I had some people there was a lot of talk of why no Nate. I don't think they're going to be talking about it as much after. So Dynamo jumps out early on. Could have been worse. Made it 2-0, and we're like, all right, fuck, this is done. Ryan Williams, as we talked about. What a way to make your cap for Detroit City. If you haven't seen the goal, it's everywhere. You don't have to look far. Go fucking check it out. 2-1 at halftime. A double sub happens midway through the second half. Yazid Matthews, Ben Morris. Yazid Matthews shuts a lot of people up, equalizing things up 2-2. Unfortunately, the Dynamo's Open Cup player and whatever he was last year came on and scored a blaster 2 minutes later. But
hey, Garrett.
Yeah.
Update, and I'm only updating because there's ramifications possibly for this Saturday.
Yep.
North Carolina just tied up Phoenix.
Thank you.
In the 81st.
By the way, both
both
men with red cards, right? Both are at 10.
Yep, both are at 10.
The magic of the cup, baby.
Go ahead.
Maxi Rodriguez also has that magic, that cup magic. 3-3. Yazid to Devin Amumensa bombing up, feeding it to Maxi spot on. The only thing that was more spot on was Adam's timing of the video clip to my recap last night. That was as spot on there.
I didn't do it. I hardly did any editing with that too. Like I just seriously put the videos together and slapped it in a just dropped it in. Where you started talking about Ryan Williams, and it matched up perfectly. I was so happy about that.
I watched it at work. I was like, holy fuck. It's the magic of the cup.
Well, and plus Garrett sends me like 5 videos a day to edit. So
yeah, I set up just one more before that for Tigers recap. So, but we get to extra time. We withstand extra time. Our guys are struggling due to the cramps and the weather and all that shit. And then we get the penalties, which is city kryptonite. Over the years, unless you're like Michigan Bucks, because and Brad Dunwell. Sorry, man. But Ben Moore steps up. It's goals, and then unfortunately, to continue tradition, an Englishman steps up and gets a penalty saved. Ben Morris, we still love you though. Carlos Saldana then made a big save. Michael Bryant equalizes. The fucking swagger, that type of penalty he took to tie it. And then it went down literally to keepers.
Stevie, well, don't forget Stevie, because Stevie had a redemptive moment. Remember, he sailed one over the bar against Louisville.
He sailed one over against Cleveland, too, in 19.
He wasn't the only one, but yes, he did.
No, yeah. That was a bad pen day. Connor buried it fucking, too.
We don't often have good pen days, so
everybody
except
here
for last night.
we had a great pen day, didn't we?
Except for Jaime's favorite guy.
So it comes down to the goalkeepers, and Houston's backup keeper. So we're in one of our chat circles. Jam asked, how old is Houston's keeper? He looks like fucking old. And I first thought it was their main goalkeeper, Steve Clark, who's legitimately 38 years old. It was their backup who's 30. So I don't know what the fuck you're doing to look like that at 30, but yikes. Skied that bitch over there. And then...
Well, that added to his age right there.
High and wide, I think, yeah.
like it was Miami, Florida State college football. And then
high and wide of the golf.
yeah, that bitch went to Galveston. And then the actual, and we're not being sarcastic, the put this in legitimate stone, Detroit City legend, Jaime mentioned it well in APA in Spanish, Carlos Saldana, that man deserves all the bolo ties in the world, winning PK Detroit City FC out into the round of 16 of the U.S. Open Cup. Even Mike Watts had to give us our flowers.
Yep.
Let's just hand it around. Let's kind of get into how everyone's feeling. Rod, I'm gonna start off with you because you mentioned Ryder got a call from someone who played in that battle at 6 a.m. this morning.
Yeah, one of his former teammates called him or texted him and then called him and said, "Yeah, I was trying to determine whether or not they had an order past the first five because apparently that usually you pick the first five and maybe a couple more, but apparently I don't think they did because the gentleman who went ninth and 10th were trying to go last. They were not. That's how it always is. You have guys who want to take the PKs and guys who don't, right? And I guess the fellows who went 9 and 10 weren't real, didn't really want to jump there and take them. But hey, they buried it. That's all you can say about that. They came through, so that was exciting. It was just a great overall one of the funnest matches I've seen in a long time. I didn't really feel that worried about it when we were down 2-0. Felt like we still had something in the tank there. And indeed we did. That was a hell of a way to open up the account for Mr. Williams. That was incredible goal. And it caught the announcer off guard because he was complaining about a foul, and all of a sudden it's in the back of the net. So that was great.
Mike Watts. That's what you get.
Yeah. Followed by the Yazid goal was interesting because I could not believe he did not celebrate not one bit. Not one bit. Big goal. Got to be one of the biggest goals of his career.
Yeah.
And, he didn't celebrate. He was all about the business. Let's get back and see if we can get another one. And then, we're down again, but we came back with money man Maxi Rodriguez. Didn't surprise me one bit. That was a beautiful pass, though. Man.
Well, both passes before it.
Yeah.
Yazid up to Devin.
Yeah, Yazid dumped, in the corner. Beautiful pass there. And then Devin just pulled it back with a beautiful diagonal back to the open area and for the finish by Maxi. So, yeah, probably one of the biggest nights I've ever experienced as a, part of this DCFC community. It was just, and I got to say, I never did get the link to work on correctly. Couldn't get it on my TV. I watched the entire match on my phone, and at the very end, it was the Green family crowded around my Samsung Galaxy S23 Plus, and we watched it from there, and it was I'll never forget that experience. So great night. Hope we can have another one.
Hell yeah, man. How about we go for the rest of the order? We'll go Alan, we'll go Red, and then we'll go Adam.
Yeah. I was not feeling very confident about this match, given our recent performances, and sufficiently enough so that I really did not want to go to a viewing party because I thought it would be a downer. I'll raise my hand and say. So I stayed at home and spent 20 minutes. And finally got the YouTube on my TV to work, and after some effort, and the funny thing is that had everything worked with the Open Cup the way it should have, they probably would have had a new broadcast deal, and we would have been able to watch these matches very easily. But that wasn't to be. So it kind of unfolded as kind of expected it to, and after the second goal, the Houston goal went in, I was like, okay, this is just gonna get out of hand. I've seen that movie before, so But you know what? That's not what happened.
Nope.
And I think probably they wanted to get to the half, and they were able to. And I think it was in about 10 minutes into the second half, something clicked.
Yeah.
The whole demeanor of the city side changed. They tapped the belief sign or something, because they just all of a sudden felt it, and they were passing the ball better. They were not turning the ball over as much, and they were moving fast. And I think that just shook the Houston players. They didn't expect that.
Right.
And I remember at the time watching the game, it's like, wow, something, they've like got some momentum going, and it's just, you don't usually see that, and it lifted them to a different level. And that's really what they ran on the rest of the game. So they shifted into a different gear, even under the warm weather conditions in Houston, and with a bit of a changed lineup with Saldana in the net. So and then the penalties. I mean, so came from behind twice. I mean, just incredible. You got to kind of put it on Houston's defense. They left some of these guys unmarked on those goals. So I going into the penalties, obviously I was not very confident, because that's just never been able to successfully navigate those. Typically, it's been a weak point. And so with it unfolding the way it did, it was just indescribable. And then coming out on the winning end of that match, it really was probably the biggest victory the club's ever had.
Hell yeah. Brad, how about you, man?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I was at the clubhouse, and I don't know, man. I mean, prior to the match, I think it was I was hanging out with Bill Emerson and Kitch, and of course, the awesome staff up there, chopping it up with them. But I think it was Bill that might have asked me how I felt about going into the match, and I was like, I didn't. Of course, I would love to see us pull off another cup set, but there was the other part of me that was like, oh man, the way this goofy shit is panning out, you know what I mean? I'd rather us not like extend our time in this tournament to wear ourselves out for league play. That's, if I'm being honest, that's kind of where my head was at. I was like, okay, we win, cool. If we don't, whatever. You know what I mean? It wasn't gonna break my heart. But I was just worn out. I was telling Alan before you all jumped on, I was like, I left the clubhouse at halftime, and I went home because I was yawning before the match even started. I was just so drained. I was like, I'm gonna go home and watch the rest of this match from home. And which was weird because I was coming up the back end of that fucking storm that came through the area, and it was just eerie. It was like dark as can be, still as can be, and there was like nobody on 75 North, and I was like, this feels like I might get swept away by a tornado. I'm not sure about this. And I could, so anyway, got home and I was like, all right, well, I'm not gonna not watch the match, right? And started watching the match, and man, shit, did they? It's always funny. It's just like the way this club just plays with my emotions, and I was screaming at the fucking top of my lungs, and I live in an apartment complex, so like I'm probably scaring the shit out of my neighbors, right? it was just amazing. It was just amazing. I mean, we made the most out of the opportunities that we had. I think they mentioned, at least when it was 3-3, that like we had produced 3 goals on an XG of like whatever
Point
0.5,
35, yeah.
0.35. And we made the most of our opportunities. You know what I mean? I don't give a shit if we've saw this over and over, right? Like even with our possession, right? They outpossessed us, right? We were just chasing them around in the first half. It was like after it was 2-0, I was like, oh shit. That's what it made it a little bit easier for me to go home. Not that I wasn't gonna watch the match, but I'm like, I might as well go home and, watch this so that I can more easily cry myself to sleep after we get our asses whooped. That's what it was looking like, right? Because we were just on our heels, and their offensive press was just playing with us in our defensive third. We couldn't even, we couldn't even get out of our defensive third sometimes. And when we did finally get out, it was because we booted it up, and then we lost possession as soon as we got out of the offensive third, our defensive third. So, man, the way they switched it around in the second half, it was beautiful. You know what I mean? I agree, Alan. Like they started to look a little bit more crisp. They were possessing the ball a little bit more responsibly, more delicately than they were prior to that. And then by the time we got to overtime, like I didn't care. I was like, the way that they looked out there, they were fucking worn. So like it was like fire and clock emojis for me on Twitter. I was like, just fucking burn the clock, burn the clock, burn the clock. And that says a lot, right? Given our history. But there was also like, by the way that we turned that match around, I had actually a really good feeling about going into PKs. And that's really weird to say as a City supporter, and they did. I thought they did it perfectly in those 15-minute halves of overtime. I thought they did exactly what they needed to do because their bodies were beaten and bruised, and everybody just looked like they were just taxed, right? So it was like, just get to the PKs where you don't have to expend as much effort. And then the PKs were a nerve wrack, right? I mean, obviously Ben was the fella that unfortunately missed in that first round, and we're like, oh shit. And then Carlos came up big with that save, and man, what else is to be said that hasn't been said? Like, it was perfect. We beat the defending champions for the U.S. Open Cup. Now we get a chance to beat the defending champions of the USL Championship this Saturday, right? And then we get to move on into the next round and play the little MLS wannabe slappies from Indy 11.
Pick us!
It's just to me like, dog, it's poetic. It's poetic. It's like this is like tailor-made situation for us. Not and let me even back up a little bit more, right? We're playing the defending USL champions this Saturday. That is Phoenix, which is the one club whose supporters are clearly scrubby ass supporters now, right? There's nowhere to be found anymore. But when we came into the league, they were the ones that gave us the most heat, right? They were the ones that were pretty active, at least, on social media, for what that's worth, you know what I mean? And so it's kind of just, the whole thing is like just fucking interesting, man. It's pretty dope. So it's cool. It's cool. And if there's one year that we ever had an opportunity to get a CONCACAF Champions League berth, this is the year, right? MLS only had 8 squads in there. No wonder. Well, I'm sorry, they have 7 squads in there, right? No wonder they only put 8 in there, right? They didn't want their ass embarrassed. And it's kind of crazy actually going into the round of 16 now, and we're going to be playing not only a USL Championship team, but one that we've already beaten this year, and one that we have even more, at least among our supporters, given the culture of the dominant culture of our club. There's just going to be so much. There's going to be so much fucking energy behind this match. It's going to be a beautiful thing, man. So I don't understand. Maybe one of y'all can explain to me. Maybe we'll get into this later. So if we are, just pin this. But now, why are we going to Indy? Like why
they made a bracket for the next 2 games for the round of 32 and the 16s. So it's one of those things where they set the region up. Here's your group of teams. This is going to play this, and then you do that, and then I think after the round of 16, then they'll redraw. And
Okay,
that's the quarters.
But the redraw that like why are
Because they set the region up. They set the region up. It was Indy, San Antonio, us, Houston.
No,
so
well, I get why we're playing Indy, but why are we going to Indy?
Because it's the
because
way
there was because it was the way that was drawn. There was an H1 and an away one, and then a home 2 and an away 2. We were part of the 2s, and the 2s were going to be the away in the second round of this bracket anyway. So
no matter what, okay.
And then are we gonna be playing at their current stadium or the stadium that isn't?
I don't know.
Gonna happen maybe.
It's
the
not...
one.
I'm just fucking around. Obviously, you're not
funny story about the stadium they're playing in right now or played in tonight. That's
they're playing
Butler's,
at Butler. Yeah.
Yes, that's Butler's football stadium that got like massive upgrades because of how successful Butler's college basketball team has been. So I went there like back in, because I went to the Final Four like back in 2010, and that was the year that Butler was in the Final Four and they beat Michigan State.
In Indianapolis.
Yes, Butler is basically in downtown Indianapolis. But when I went in 2010, it was just then starting to get some upgrades, because I went a few years prior to that. It looked like a regular like high school football stadium. It was like there was less amenity there than there is at Keyworth, if you can believe that.
Did I ever mention that LSU's track stadium is double decker? It's not because of the track program; it's because of the football team.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, it's got every amenity you can imagine. The locker rooms, so that's pretty common. Good for Butler.
So, we'll see. Indy.
It's actually backed. Butler's that football stadium's backed up right next to the field house where they shot Hoosiers, that movie. So.
Oh, cool.
I'm full of useless Butler and Indianapolis knowledge right now. And I also just want to say too, if we ended up losing last night, you can sure as hell bet that Jaime would have been on here right at 9:00 to bitch about Ben Morris missing that penalty. But we ended up winning, so where's Jaime right now? Oh, I'm coming back from a game. He's not. You could bet your ass that if we lost, Jaime would be on this podcast right now, continually talking about Ben Morris this and Ben Morris that. But he's not here.
Tensions brewing.
He's not here.
Certified hater.
Before we get
washing
to
his hair
and I had so much nice things to say about him before you guys got on the call, because once I got into the Zoom, it started recording and I didn't start talking.
Yeah, I did one of those things again.
Just nothing but beautiful things to say about that man. And look at him. He doesn't show up.
Adam, before you close, let's do the Open Cup update. Ding, 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 ding. Extra time in North Carolina. 1-1. So Phoenix is going to have to also do 30 minutes, and we got a day's head start on the rest. Charleston Battery 2. South Georgia Tormenta 2. 113th minute.
South Georgia.
Final. New York City FC 2. 1. Colorado Springs Switchbacks 0 and lost to men. Final score. Another USL side to fuck up against the next pro side. Union Omaha 1. Sporting KC 1. 66th minute. 23rd minute in New Mexico. New Mexico 2. Real Salt Lake 0. And yeah,
Real Salt Lake is is that their 2?
No, that's their legit
that's MLS.
side. That's legit side.
Mondi.
The Tampa Bay Rowdies were 4-0 up on Birmingham Legion. It is now 4-3 in the 90th. Goals by the Legion in the 82nd, 89th, and the 93rd. So to say that the Open Cup is running wild is a goddamn understatement. So, Mr. Hernandez, mi hermano, your thoughts on what all happened last night and how you're feeling today?
I mean, just complete utter chaos from last night. But I just want to say too that last night, I mean, obviously we have a long, storied, professional sports history here in Detroit. And I just want to say that last night's win, I think it was the biggest win in the club's history. But I don't want to say that was the biggest win in Detroit sports history. It's certainly one of them. Oh, look who's showing up.
Hey!
But
He's just, he's just gonna roll in. He's gonna roll in late because referees decide to help out at the Bernabeu and allow Real Madrid to get to the Champions League final. I know. This is based off what others told me. I didn't watch the game today.
I heard somewhere.
There's a lot of crybabies out there, I'll tell you that much.
I'm so jealous of that flow. I think it got there before he did. Look at that shit.
Dude, look at the scrub too, man.
Yeah, look at this guy,
that looks
man.
like he's been pounding red wine and empanadas since like 1 in the fucking morning. He's got them here.
He's got the good stuff.
He's got the good shit.
Freaking this Miller Lite.
Where's Dennis, by the way?
I don't know. Somebody roast him in the fucking chat.
I think he's still talking shit online right now.
Oh, yeah.
Adam, I'll go roast Dennis in the chat. You continue with what you're saying, and then Jaime jump on.
No, I just want to say that, like I said, we've had a lot of big wins in Detroit sports history. And I don't want to say last night was the biggest, but it may have been the most, relatively speaking, the most important and the most meaningful in Detroit sports history, considering that if the Lions win a big game, which they certainly have this past year, Lions have won a few big games this past year. The Red Wings have won big games, obviously in our lifetime, and within the past 15, 20 years, they've won championships and whatnot. The thing about those wins, though, is they don't shake the foundations of professional hockey in the United States. And the Lions' playoff wins don't shake the foundations of American football in the United States. It really doesn't shake the foundations of the NFL. It's just a feel-good win that, was a long time coming if you're a Detroit Lions fan. Same thing if you are a Red Wings fan. This season, those big late wins, later on in the regular season that we experienced. The Stanley Cup championship in 08 and 02 and 98 and 97. Again, massive wins for the city itself, for the team, not necessarily for the NHL or hockey in general in the United States. Something that city, its supporters, and its culture in general, what have we been pushing that everybody else, well, not everybody else, but we are doing it the right way because we are doing it outside of this billionaire bubble that takes hold of professional sports in this country, whether it's the Major Four or what the Federation and MLS is trying to do to the game right now. They're trying to turn it into a billionaires club where you have to have billions of dollars to have a professional team in first division soccer in the United States. We've been trying. Our arguments. One of our big arguments has been going against that's not how it should be done here in the United States. It should be done a different way. It should be done, a grassroots way. And last night continued to push that argument. Continued to I don't want to say solidify that argument, but for lack of a better term, I'm going to say solidify that argument. Because you have a team in Detroit City that has always preached doing it a grassroots way, beating an MLS franchise that has had the backing of the Federation forever. And that means something. That's why last night, and that's why this morning, if you're on soccer Twitter, soccer social media, that's what was being talked about. If this was just another MLS team being another MLS team, who cares? Who cares if the Sounders ended up beating the Earthquakes? Or, who cares if it was just another USL squad being another USL squad? Nobody cares. But it's a big deal because you had a lower division team that has been pushing this narrative for years, beating an MLS squad and shaking that foundation, bringing more question to that foundation. And we're seeing it again tonight. Union Omaha has shaken that foundation a bit. We saw it a couple years ago at Sacramento, even though they are diet MLS too, shaking that foundation. And that's just why it is so important. That's why those wins, especially here in Detroit with this particular team, given our message all these years, is so important. So, people are going to hear that. People are going to scoff at it, even here in Detroit. When I go and I say something like, yeah, it is probably one of the most important and meaningful wins in Detroit sports history. They'll scoff, but it's true because wins like that shake the foundation of professional soccer in general in the United States. And just one quick shout out to Yazid Matthews too, because as much as it seemed like he was done last year, the guy just keeps on being a part of massive goals with this club. Whether it was the goal against Atlas, whether it was the clincher, the Members Cup clincher against the Stars in the tin can.
Atlas.
Last night. Yeah, I said Atlas. It's just he's always contributing in some way to big goals, whether he's scoring them or, being a part of them in some way. So, and another thing about last night too, again, it was on the road. So you can throw out all these dumb narratives that, oh, well, MLS had to go and play at a high school stadium on a shitty pitch in shitty facilities. Not this time. City went into Houston and planted the flag on Houston's home pitch. And yep.
Can I
fuck
just jump in?
MLS, fuck Houston, fuck them all.
Can I just jump in and say something really quickly?
Yeah.
Adam mentioned the pitch. I would just like to take this moment to publicly apologize to Declan Wynn. As some of you know, I coached a soccer game at Keyworth a couple weeks ago. And I'm not usually down on the pitch. It was horrible. Like for a turf field that was just installed like 5 years ago, it is really bad. Like I had no idea it was that bad. And so for those who leave in search of grass, I kind of get it. I still low key have a lot of hate in my heart towards Declan,
which is reasonable.
I think it is reasonable, but
understandable.
I would like to apologize because the state of the pitch at Keyworth is really bad, and I'm happy that they got to play on grass last night. On their way to crushing Houston.
And now Jaime talks about how he felt during his emotions during the game, and now today.
Real quick, Birmingham tied it up 4-4. Tampa Bay blew a 4-0 lead.
What the fuck?
Wow.
The magic of the fucking cup.
That's crazy.
Mike Pendleton in shambles. Jaime, go.
So what are we talking about right now? Actually,
How you were feeling during the game yesterday?
Talking
about
and how
you.
you're feeling after that? Yeah. And no, City, not Real Madrid.
No, just what. It's one of the most remarkable Detroit City matches maybe the most remarkable match I've ever seen. The highs and the lows. Like, I thought we were going to be just absolutely run off the pitch in those first 10 minutes or so, and then they claw their way all the way back into the game, and then give the lead up like 20 seconds later again, only to tie it again. Penalty kick shootout that goes 11 kicks. Like, it's just outrageous. And I thought a lot of the players were struggling towards the end. You could see it, and some of them, Villanueva looked like he was hobbling around for a bit, and yet somehow found the strength or whatever to take a penalty kick after 120 minutes. Just crazy. Saldana, what a legend. I'm sure everyone said something about him, but
What was the op at Detroit City? Because I didn't want to. What you mentioned, I didn't want to do. I didn't want to discredit it and not give it the poignancy.
What was that?
You basically said he was a Detroit City legend, but in Spanish.
Oh yeah, I did say that in Spanish. Yeah.
So what's the Spanish?
No, I just say he's a U.S. Open Cup legend.
Yes. So how do you? So the
Leyenda de la Copa Abierta.
Garrett, did you just ask Jaime be Spanish for me?
He was like, say something.
Do the Spanish thing, Jaime.
He was skating around it by saying.
I'm just kidding, Garrett.
By the way,
Garrett wants you
Maxi and Carlos.
Garrett wants you to do a whole episode in Spanish.
Maxi and Carlos doing full interviews in the locker room in Spanish last night for Houston as well.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Love
that
it.
was very cool.
But yeah, no, just great vibes. I let my kids stay up and watch it, which was frowned upon.
Sicko dad, yes.
Frowned upon at the time by one half of the parental couple, but I was like, no, he's staying up for this. So yeah, love it, and onward, right?
How about the fact that the one penalty miss was by an Englishman?
Listen, I was not going to bring this up.
Wow, that was shocking.
No, I mean, look, I'm not going to kill a guy for missing in a shootout. Like, that's a hard task. Like, anyone who steps up again after playing all those minutes to take a penalty kick in a high pressure situation, like, deserves respect. I've got a lot of other things that I'm concerned about relative to his recent performances, but we can save that for another day. Today's all love for all the boys who are out there. So yeah.
I heard Jaime had to go to Kroger last night after all the swearing and everything that he was uttering when Ben Morris missed that penalty. So I think that's how bad it got.
I heard somebody say that as well, so that's two sources.
I immediately thought when he missed the penalty, I'm like, oh god, let's turn to Ann. Let's go to the scenes in Ann Arbor, Michigan. But you know what? Like you said, it's a tough situation. You go for that thing. I hope he quickly rebounds and rolls with it. North Carolina went down.
Hey, was Nate gonna have to get in there and take a penalty? Was that what was coming up in the next round?
Also, people online, do not freak out that Nate Steinwasser is not starting in an Open Cup game. This is normally what happens.
That's not what I asked, though. That's not what I asked.
People wanted him in.
Nate's leaving.
Okay. Was Nate going to have to take the next penalty?
No, because it would have gone back to the
back to the start of the. You can only be the players on the field at the time,
which I've never seen, but
No, me either. And the only other shootout I've seen go to 11 rounds was Manchester United Villarreal a couple years ago in the Europa League final.
I want to echo.
Crystal Palace losing to Bournemouth in the Carabao Cup was also goalkeepers in 2020.
All right, hold on.
Oh,
Rod.
I was going to say, I wanted to echo what Jaime said. I mean, I can't even imagine what it's like to step up there in that situation with that much pressure on you to deliver, not just.
Oh shit! Rod froze.
No.
But did he say it a Samsung something? What was it?
Teammates, but a lot of stuff gets. Hunter's going to be next. And
Rod, you got to rewind about 35 seconds because you froze with that.
No.
You froze. Like you were dropping like some gems, and then all of a sudden you went.
That's right.
I've been relegated to the bedroom, and my Wi-Fi is crap. But I was basically just saying when Connor stepped up there, I was so nervous. It was like one of my own sons being up there. I almost. It was like if I had a son who could go box to box and score a goal with his ass. It was like that, and I got really nervous to the point where I almost looked away. So I was so happy for him to get up there and do that. But yeah, it's a tough situation to be in. You just can't imagine the pressure. That's why you see these guys inexplicably shoot these shots high sometimes. They just lose all their, their composure there and their technique. So anybody who gets up there, I'll give it to them, make it or not.
Well, go ahead, Alan.
Speaking of sons, how cool was it that Maxey had his parents at the match?
Yeah.
Who is it true that it was the first time they had actually seen him play professionally?
First time they'd seen him score a goal.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep. They were in San Antonio.
Yeah, I remember they were in San Antonio. Yeah.
They were in San Antonio.
And I think they've been to Detroit.
And of course he pointed to them after scoring, and what a beautiful moment.
Yeah. Well, and I don't want us to lose, like, focus on something that was just said by Rod. He said he was relegated to the bedroom, and I'd be honest with you. When you say that, sounds like something freaky that a wife would say. Oh, baby, you've been relegated to the bedroom, or no, wait, you would be promoted, right? Yeah, never mind.
Wow. Hey, this is not Studio A. I've only got one screen here and like apparently hardly any Wi-Fi. So.
Oh wow.
Doing the best I can.
You know when we were talking about the tunnel gentrification a couple of weeks ago? This is what Rod was kind of making this sound like a little bit. He's got to go down to fucking pedestrian conditions. So
I do have these cool posts back here.
Why don't we also talk about the fact that the weirdest thing that's potentially happened is we have become darlings of U.S. soccer, apparently, based off of Red being one of the people being tweeted out in photos from the Michigan Stars game. Shout out to all of our people in there. It's like you guys didn't want us to do all the cool shit, and then you realize that all the cool shit is indeed cool, and you need this to help grow the game. Huh. Imagine that.
Yep.
I mean, I don't think they could have chosen a better poster boy for U.S. soccer.
Another legend of the U.S. Open Cup.
I mean,
I don't know what was more ginge, that track jacket you were wearing in that photo, or you. Hot take, fun round the table question. More impressive City Open Cup win. April 19th, 2022 against Columbus Crew, or last night? Jaime.
I think I would say last night, only because of the deficit that they had to climb back from. I think was pretty impressive, and yeah, I mean against Columbus, they gave up that early goal, I think from a penalty kick, but never felt like we were out of the game. And it felt last night like we were dangerously close to like being out of the game, and somehow they're able to get back into it. So for that reason, and a goalkeeper scoring a winning penalty, I'm gonna have to give it to last night.
All right, Adam.
Without question, last night, everything was going against us on the road, down multiple times, and then, like Jaime just said, it's you're going into a stretch of the game that City hasn't been too successful in, and with the penalties. So, yeah, I think last night was, yeah, without question, the more impressive win.
Rod.
Yeah, definitely last night. The crew game, I felt like we were in it the whole time. I don't know if it was just the comfort of being in our own stadium with our fans. Felt like anything was possible last night. There was definitely some doubt when we went down 2-0, but the club kind of embodied what the city of Detroit's all about. To steal from the Lions, grit. We never quit, came back, got off the deck, and delivered some blows and came away with the win. So I think definitely for me it was last night.
Red.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm going to answer that just based off of the pitch, what happened on the pitch, then last night. I think the only thing that could, I don't know. There's part of me that wants to say the only thing that could have made last night better is that it happened at Keyworth. But then again, the fact that we didn't just go to Houston, but then they actually played at their home stadium, and their scrubby ass supporters didn't show up to see them get their ass whooped. Is a whole nother thing. That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool, right? There was just something special about Columbus being at Keyworth and being in the midst of the joy that happened when that took place. I mean, so there's a certain adrenaline to that. Just like, I mean, if I go back, the only match that I think that I've ever shed a tear about was when we beat the Bucks in Open Cup, and there's a storyline to all of it, you know what I mean, about like what we stand for relative to what these clubs, nothing to say about the players on the pitch, right? But the clubs and, the leagues that they're affiliated with or the desires that they have, is just pretty cool. But I would say if I'm gonna, my gut would say last night. That is a match that's fucking bonkers. It's fucking bonkers. I've never seen that happen before, and it was with my club.
Yeah. Alan, what about you, bud?
In terms of local impact, probably the Columbus game because of all the hype. And so I agree with Red on that one, that there was some build up to that. But in terms of like the sporting achievement last night by far, because we know that Columbus came in with the reserve squad with a few starters on the bench. I don't know what the mix was last night. It's something I meant to look up. I haven't looked at.
So I think there were 5 players in the starting lineup last night that started their last league game.
Okay, so
St. Louis City.
It was much. So they had a reserve. They have their second or third goalkeeper, but most of their squad.
They brought in a lot of the players. A lot of the subs were some of their regular players. Like I feel like against Columbus, they had a lot of like kids from like the B team on the bench.
Yeah, they sat some of their heavies home.
Yeah. They didn't want to bring them to Keyworth. So I think in terms of what was achieved by the players on the pitch, there's no comparison. Last night was by far a better performance, and so it's really, if you look at it like that, then yeah, last night.
Not to mention too, we're missing Elvis, we're missing Reese. Levi's wasn't there. We were coming off a tough. Yep, Elvis. We were coming off a tough, road match just a few nights prior in Loudoun. Rainy match. So impressive.
I think when you look at the fact that of what has happened regarding this competition in the off season, and even Don Garber's comments about it this week, uh, the difficulty in being able to find the links to watch this or put it on your TVs and all this thing. The one thing that billionaire sports soccer owners, the one thing they didn't want to happen happened last night, and that's a good fucking thing. I think without April 22 was important because it got City to obviously the things now and less like the CBS TV deal and everything like that. But when you look at the significance of the moment, I think there and not just in here, Men in Blazers talking about it, Hercules Gomez talking about it, outside of the people talking about it. Last night is a day that it was I literally, I don't know how y'all felt, but I literally was talking to, my immediate boss. She's been going to City regularly the last couple of years. And I was like, this does not feel like a fucking match day. Because we were in Texas. It was a weird, night game. And, it wasn't going, I was taking it easy. And it only ended up being a day you'll never forget as a City fan. And I think it's a beautiful fucking thing. We got two things coming up on Saturday. We have, after knocking out the U.S. Open Cup champs, the men have, as Red and everyone's mentioned, the USL champions, defending champs coming into town. A game that's on CBS Sports Network, 5 p.m. Phoenix Rising, who are in, as we mentioned, in extra time against North Carolina FC, a North Carolina FC team that went down another man, and Phoenix has since scored. They are 2-1 up in the 110th minute. But they are also going to be tired as fuck. And then in the evening, the women, and this is so weird to say because Adam and I have been talking about this, about how quick this has popped up. The women start W League this weekend, 3 days from now, Saturday night in Flint, before their home opener on the 18th.
Are they going to announce any new players?
So funny, W League, I think the W League website did a full roster drop, including names that the club hasn't officially announced.
Why are they like snoozing on this?
Honestly, who knows? But
I blame Matthew.
We do have an owners meeting coming up, and
May 15th.
Dwayne, he's going to be at that meeting, and so maybe they'll do something for that. But yeah, I mean, season's starting. Let's have it.
As long as they have their players in line, and I mean, I feel more comfortable that they have them in line, and they just haven't communicated it to us yet.
Are you suggesting that Dwayne he needs to go to the local bars and start chatting with players and stuff?
No, I'm saying I'm not going to go so far as Jaime and suggest that the way he out already, because they haven't even played a game this season. But I'm just saying there might be some things to the story that we just don't know, Jaime.
I don't know why Jaime wants coaches gone so
I will say this: as chaotic and unsure what the hell PASL season was going to be, it actually turned out to be really, really fucking cool, and like a team that we remember. Maybe they're just wanting to do the same fucked up vibes for W League. In that sense, Rod disappeared a little bit, so I wonder if the bedpost knocked his internet connection out. So
he was promoted to the big bed.
He's back.
Uh-oh.
We don't have to continuously, because we've always been so we don't have to go deep dive into either of these matches on Saturday. But how are we all feeling? Rising City at Keyworth Saturday, 5 p.m. CBS Sports Network. The women at Atwood against Flint. City, 7 p.m. I think is the game for the women. I know it's after the men's game. So, Red, why don't we start? How are you feeling on that one? Either of them.
City wins 2-0.
Fuck yeah.
because reasons. No, I think that we're gonna be tired. They're gonna be tired. I'm elated that they went into overtime. I don't care whether or not Phoenix wins or loses. I don't care if they go to. I don't care if they go to PKs. I just wanted them to go to overtime, wear their ass out like we're worn out, and they're on the road. They went from Phoenix to who are they playing tonight? I don't know.
North Carolina.
North Carolina. I knew it was on the East
They were in
Coast.
Sacramento though this past weekend.
Sacramento was in Phoenix, but yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Sacramento, Phoenix, yeah.
Yeah, wear their ass out, bring your ass to Keyworth, and get that shit stomped. I don't know. I feel like we're riding a high that nobody else in American soccer is riding right now, and we need it. We need the extra juice because we've got some players that are out, that we're seeing it's noticeable, and I think the fella's going to come in on Saturday with a certain hop in their step. I'm looking forward to it.
How about the women in Flint?
Thank you for pointing that out. I have no idea. I'm gonna be honest,
Yeah.
I can't say just because of the nature of, that league, and just like when the men, were in NPSL, I can't really project anything until the season starts. I don't,
Right. That's fair because we didn't realize how good Flint was until the season started last year, and then we got to see how good they were. So,
well, and regardless of what kind of squad they're able to put together, I mean, there's always going to be, that connection to the rivalry back and forth between us and the Bucks.
Yeah.
So, that can go one way or the other. I guess, the way that the women's season unfolds is kind of how the men's season used to unfold when we were in NPSL. We think we got something together, but we'll see how it actually performs because until we'll see, when they hit the pitch and then start making our calculations from there.
Indeed.
No, I don't pay enough attention to what's going on in the collegiate level, you know what I mean, to know much about these players to really weigh in on it.
Right. I hear you. Rod, how about you? Your call on any thoughts for the women, but how are you feeling about the men against Phoenix?
Yeah, as far as the women are concerned, I concur with what Red said. I really don't know that much about it at this point. Who's going to show up on whose roster? Thought it was real iffy this time of year with with the college kids playing, who's available, who's there, and who's coming later. So yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to wait and see how that shakes out. As far as the men are concerned, I think we're taking the points this week. I think we're going to be a little more rested than they are. I'm glad to see they're still out there putting in work and getting a little tired for us this weekend. And I also think return to Nate Steinwasser, he's going to say, "Hey, don't let anybody forget about me. I'm still the keeper here. I'm going to throw up a clean sheet on these boys." So
who?
That's my prediction.
Some accountant who apparently plays golf for us. He's got a painting. Me. He's got a painting.
Yeah.
Adam, how about you, man?
I hope Nate comes into Saturday wearing a big fucking cowboy hat and bolo tie also. As far as the women goes, you can get a nice rundown and a nice preview by listening to the last episode of Detroit City Sportscast.
Sean Spence went into great detail. Great detail. Make City, make Spence.
Yeah, make City, make Spence. You get a good kind of rundown and everything for the women's season. And based off of that episode alone, which you can go and find over at Detroit at themajorsports.com or over on YouTube, I'm going to say that we're going to have a 3-3 draw between the City women.
I'm about to boot Adam.
How dare you? You say Nate's giving up 3 goals?
No, that was the women, Rod. Not the
that's the women.
Okay.
That was the women. As
Jaime
Jaime was given dirty looks during my whole cross promotion there, but
even I didn't do the promotion tonight.
As far as the men go,
podcast less than an hour. Is that podcast less than an hour?
Good one.
No. No. As far as the men's side
it's
goes,
a free-form podcast, Rod.
You say a free what?
Free-form. I meant to say
Oh.
long-form. Long-form.
Oh, I thought I heard that
Long-form
too.
podcast.
Wow, what kind of
Yeah, I thought you said
that's that
free
kind of
form.
show.
Says
So did I.
the guy
That's the kind of
says the guy that gets relegated to the bedroom. Okay.
He said the free porn.
Okay, Adam, back to Phoenix.
Those aren't bed posts. That's a stripper pole behind them. Two of them.
Fucking Christ.
little worried about City's goal scoring output. They're scoreless now in 2 straight league games. Hopefully
And then we put 3 up against the MLS side. That's
yeah. Hopefully that. How many we go scoreless before last season before we played?
I don't want to.
to.
I don't want to go back to remember that. So
Yeah,
I'm not going to.
I'm out of that. It's trauma.
So
this
I
is
mean,
a good
again,
podcast.
trauma response.
hopefully the game last night kind of jarred something loose with them, and they can get back on track as far as scoring goals again. I'm gonna go 2-1 City against Phoenix.
All right.
Saturday.
Oh, so what you're saying is that Nate can't get a clean sheet, huh?
No.
I mean,
yeah. Who knows how the women's side will do. I'm just digging into this roster while everyone else is talking. The men, of course, are going to win 4-0. Phoenix is, I believe we refer to that as a scrubby-ass club.
we're doing this again.
That's fair.
Yeah, 4-0 for sure. Nate is going to score on a penalty kick. Maxi's going to give him the opportunity to, since he didn't get to participate in the shootout.
No, he's gonna run up. He's gonna run up and take a penalty like Makruva style. Like Max is gonna be setting it down at the spot.
Max has put the ball on the spot, and he's just turning around to go do his run up. And in the meantime, Nate's been sprinting from the other side of the field and just wails it into the top corner. That's definitely how the 4th goal will be scored. So
Nate's gonna take off his shirt and slide into the corner flag.
Yeah.
Yep. Can't wait.
Pale ginger, great. So how about any thoughts on the women in Flint, Jaime?
He said he doesn't know.
I mean, I'm just looking at the roster as we were chit-chatting. And no, but I will have some thoughts tomorrow if we want to record another episode.
Well, what about this? Do you have any thoughts on the women's side, Jaime?
Oh, God.
As a matter of fact, I don't have any current thoughts on the women's side.
Jaime, wait, maybe we debut a new 451 video short series.
Adam, get to
It has
work
to all
on
be
that.
it has to all be in Spanish though.
Oh,
And it has to have a title that's like a pun.
Give me a couple hours. I'll come up with something. Alan.
Yeah, I would hope that our guys are riding that dragon right now and just continues and just absolutely kicks Phoenix's butt. In terms of the women's squad, yeah, I mean it's a little disheartening that we haven't had a good build up to the season, in terms of hype. It's just again, we got a lot of stuff going on, and some things are kind of coming to the top of the list and other things aren't. So that's a concern. In terms of, because I'm also looking at the squad list, I guess the only thing that's kind of striking to me is that Gabby's back. I know that there was a lot of chatter during the PASL season that perhaps that was it. That she, in fact, was going to not continue playing. But so that it could be that the indoor season may have kind of shown her why she wants to play. So on that level, I think the indoor season may have like revitalized some players. You see a number of names on the list that were involved, some that weren't, that are college players. So I'm just not that familiar with many of those. So it's yeah. Hopefully we'll hear a little bit more this week. Well, I guess this week is almost over, so I guess we'll find out.
It's like Wonderwall. We're saying maybe.
Maybe.
I agreed with when Sean joined us last Friday. I agree with him in the thoughts that this is a huge year, maybe the most important year yet for the women on the field. When you look at where the club is, their ability to procure talent, and connecting it to on the field results. We thought I think, especially when you look at what we've been unable to do in league play in the women's year. It still bothers me to the fact that have not beaten Midwest United, and Cleveland's one win in the season last year was in suburban Grand Rapids against Midwest. But I think this PASL season that we had in the winter may be something we can really look back on as a good connection to this summer season. I hope it starts off well on the 11th. We'll see it for sure on the 18th at Keyworth when Fun City comes into town. This coming Saturday, Phoenix Rising, come and fucking get it. Keyworth's going to be bumping. 3 points to Le Rouge. I'm not predicting the score. I'm not doing that again after a couple weeks ago. But I think it's going to be a fun day in our old ballpark, our old ground. So 5 p.m. Saturday. See, if you can't make it to Keyworth CBS Sports Network, that's where the game is going to be at. So
one thing, Garrett. I wish the club would announce, like I was saying, I wish there was more activity right now as far as announcing women's players. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to completely kill the club though when it comes to lack of women's announcements, just because I thought that they did a really, really good job putting on that women's indoor season. So yes, I want more announcements, but I'm not going to go out and like completely destroy them for.
I will. You cannot rest on your laurels. KSL is over. Start announcing the players, damn it.
Yeah, start announcing the players. Don't let USL do it for you. I mean, they could have announced the players
a month ago.
Like 2 weeks ago when
last year they were announcing the women's players in March, and everyone was freaking out because we weren't announcing any of the men's players. They're like, why are we announcing all these women's players?
Yeah,
I could have done this months ago.
Maybe they hired our intern. I don't know what's going on.
I gotta fill in for Red here and be like, well, maybe maybe the club just has a lot going on, and
got a lot of potential.
And maybe they're stressed. They have a lot of potential, and
what is
what you're doing, fucker? I know what you're doing right now.
What is old is new again. All right, let's get into closing thoughts. Red, do you want to go? You want to lead off, or you want to be close before I do? I'm giving you dealer's choice.
It don't matter to me. I'll go ahead.
Don't take too long, okay?
Jesus.
Y'all will to our viewers and our listeners. This may be you may be blessed with this being the last episode that goes over an hour. Because last week I sent a message to the fellas and I informed them that I am stepping away from the show, and not just in terms of you know, being a contributor in the tunnel, but from production, I'm essentially saying, here you go, guys. Y'all can do whatever you want with the show. It's been something that, as I expressed to them already, that I've I've went over in my head for the last year. Ooh. It's been fun. But things need to, you know, shift for me and where I spend my time. Did not think I was going to be like this when I shared this with you. You already know. You guys already know. But yeah, so this is my last show. I'm officially stepping away from the 451 podcast. And you know, we'll see, you know, where the fellas take it. It's been a blessing. It really has. Just over 5 years ago, what I think in March was 5 years, something like that. Shit, man, I don't even know what to say right now. It's been a pleasure. It's been cool. It's been nice having you guys on board. It's been nice, you know, at one point in time, I know originally I talked to Alan. I'm shutting my eyes right now because if I look at you guys, I'm gonna start fucking crying. I remember talking to Alan at some point in time when I was still trying to do this on my own and seeing if we were gonna do like maybe a duo thing. Remember, Alan? I talked about like the Granny Rose Goons, right? Because I was over in Grandmont. He's still in Rosedale Park, and you know, so Granny Rose, Grandmont, Rosedale, and maybe doing a duo thing. And you know, we talked a little bit more about that, and the idea came up about bringing some other people on board as well. And then certainly, you know, Jaime and Rod were two people that came immediately to my mind to bring on the show. And then later Dennis and then Garrett and Adam came on shortly after that, you know what I mean? So it's really been cool. It's really been cool to see you guys come in the fold and add a dynamic to the show that, you know, was beyond, you know, because at the end of the day, when I was doing this shit by myself, okay, let me get in that pocket. All right, let me just talk shit. When I was doing this show by myself, you either loved me or you hated me, right? So if you liked Red, then you vibed with the show. If you didn't like Red, you're like, fuck the show because you're like, fuck Red. And that was cool, right? And I still feel that way, right? I'm going to be who I am, right? But when I was able to get some more people on board that had different perspectives and different angles and had certainly more sophisticated understanding of the game.
Different haircuts.
Yeah, and beautiful hair, you know what I mean? And hair that clearly has been...
Not talking about me then.
I was gonna go there. I was gonna go there. You ruined my joke, Alan. or Alan that have decided to abandon their children, aka Alan's head. No, but you know, it's been cool, you know, because like you guys, like it's been surreal. I talked to a few of you guys on the side probably like a year ago and was like, I've been going back and forth about this and really felt strongly that like the reason that I wanted to even do this in the first place was to expand people's understanding through this medium of the voices of this club. Because at that point in time, to be honest with you, I just felt like the bulk of the communication to the outside world about our club from supporters was really just a few people. And those people are valued and their perspective is valued, but I felt like we need to create a platform where more people can kind of speak their mind and provide alternative and not just alternative, but like perspectives that can supplement what has already been done, you know? And so that was like the original purpose and giving a voice to other supporters. So like early on in the show, you know, I used to do a lot more of the meet the supporters, or what do they call it, Up in Smoke, where I had a section called Up in Smoke, and I would interview different people. I mean, Jaime, you know what I mean, that or Jamie, as I used to call you back then. You know,
days.
Was an early person in that fold, and Rod certainly was. And you know, yeah, I don't know. I could fucking babble on for hours and hours, and we would have a 2.5 hour show. But I just want to say that like it's been really cool. The point that I was making there is that I don't ever like to head into creating something that I truly love that requires my presence in order to exist. You know what I mean? Like I always want to create something that their spirit of it and the people that come alongside of it can continue on without my existence, because it was never about me, which might be surprising for some of the listeners because they heard a lot about my fucking life over the last 5 years and like this guy likes to really talk about himself, right? But it was never really like that. So I don't know, man. It's been real. It's been real, and you know, who knows? There might be times that I pop in as a guest or something like that, but I will be a guest, right? I'm fully stepping away from the podcast and fully entrusting everything related to the show to the fellas that are here. So if you got any complaints, go ahead and fucking email them. But it's been cool, you know, with the 5 of you and Dennis as well. Yeah, it doesn't mean I'm stepping away from the club at all. I can't step away from this club if I fucking wanted to, man. It's in my fucking blood, you know what I mean? So it just means I'm going to pivot. But clearly with the way that I responded to all that, you know, it's something that has meant a lot to me and spent a lot of my time. And what goes through my head is all of the things that me personally over the last 5 years have went through, the highs and the lows in my personal life, and how this has been one of the outlets that helped me maintain my sanity. And then when y'all came on board, you know, we're a group of brothers that the fellowship and what we developed over the last couple of years has really, because the last 5 years have been crazy, but the last 2 years have been a fucking very rocky road that now I'm in a very much in a place of peace and some transitions going on in my life. And it just seemed like the right time to finally step away. But you guys have actually been the sole reason why I decided to stay on board even in this last year, because I have absolutely appreciated the fellowship. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Red.
Rod?
Yeah.
You have anything closing you want to do?
Wow. No, not really. Just Red, thank you for allowing me to be a part of this, and looking forward to seeing you in the Dirty South. Hopefully this Saturday, the dirty South.
Well, we'll see. I might have a date, so.
Oh no, definitely.
Red is on Tinder.
Hi, me.
No, what can I say? Just again, thanks. Big shout out to Red for pulling all of us in. In the end, I'm shocked that he actually invited me, because I found out after I joined the 451 podcast that in the first iteration when he interviewed me, I think that's the least number of listens in the history of the podcast.
I think you're right.
I was like, why is he getting me on this show? But no, it's been a blast. You know, obviously we're planning to forge onwards, but it won't be the same without you, and definitely grateful for all the work you put into this over the years. And yeah, I'm gonna add you back into the group chat, just so you know.
Okay, that's fine. If you add, I can invite it.
Did you change the Twitter credentials?
I have not changed the Twitter password yet, but
okay.
Why did you have to fucking say that to me? Now I'm gonna impulsively. Oh,
I checked last night, and I was like, wait, it's been too quiet.
So if you ever see any random shithousery, then now you know that
You know the password never got changed.
The least number of listeners. I hadn't heard that story before. Is that possibly because he mispronounced your name?
I don't know. Probably just because people didn't want to listen to me.
No, I think during I want to say did I interview you? I think I interviewed you during the COVID season.
Yeah, it was like pretty
So-
shortly after lockdown, I think.
Yeah, because I had shut the show down for a year, and then when COVID happened, I'm like, man, people seem pretty fucking depressed. So like, and I just had like a child, you know what I mean, and like, and I was cooped up in the house, and I was like, well, maybe I can reboot this and give people some entertainment. So a lot of that whole season was, I mean, that's the same season that I interviewed Rod and you and your boy. Some people know about him. Because I think that was the same
I
season.
vaguely remember that.
Yeah, you and Roddy. I was sitting in a small little closet in my, well, it was a spiritual room, but anyway, yeah. So you weren't alone. That season altogether was, I thought like, oh, it'd be cool to reboot it and, give somebody something to pay attention to, but everybody seemed to be like, no, fuck this. I'm fucking depressed.
Alan, what about you, bud?
I want to add my thanks. When Red approached me about the show, I was like, I don't know, I really don't do stuff like that. So it took me way out of my lane, which is good. And I've really enjoyed it, and I would very much like to keep this rolling. So I think that's probably the best way we can show our appreciation is by continuing to provide the kind of content that city supporters and maybe even some detractors, who knows, would give a listen to and watch now that we're on the YouTubes. And that's about all I can add to this. We'll see you in the stands, man.
Damn right.
Adam.
Do we have to say something nice about Red?
Shut the fuck up. Go.
He's like, this guy's been shitting on me for the better part of the last year. Fuck him.
I got a lot of problems I want to bring up.
I like your red hair. Red. What you're able to do with this is it's great. It's one of the things that makes this club great, and supporter endeavors like this, and it's can't say enough about stuff like this, just because it is disconnected from everything else that we normally see when it comes to like coverage of professional sports teams, and something like this you don't see it that often from clubs in lower league soccer that much. And like I said, that's what makes City stand apart from a lot of other lower league clubs out there, and it's because of what Red was able to create here and what we can continue to forge ahead with. So thanks Red for bringing me on. It's been great, and it's been fun, and like yourself, I'm sure this has helped me get through some really rocky personal life shit that I've had to deal with on my end too. So I could definitely empathize with you, dude. So yeah, thank you, and it's been fun having you, and I look forward to talking and mingling with you, as we go on. Don't give me that shit, man.
No, I'm glad that your presence meant something to somebody.
Good thing Dennis is in here. I can imagine what it would have been like with Dennis being here.
Oh, his
It
ass
was
is
too much for
his
Dennis.
ass is recording the video. I'll make sure he's doing on that. I'm gonna say this. Any of the things that I've done the last 18 months, going on 2 years, it doesn't start if I don't get that message from you, Red, saying, hey, can you jump on guest when we had Zayna and Juice and we all talked about Indy.
Fucking classic episode, by the way.
And that led the door. And I said this in private. I'm saying this in person. I'm grateful because without that, there's no molding over City. There's no jumping on half pod. There's probably not even doing the cast with Adam. And you know, you're due all your flowers for this. And this show, like this family of this brotherhood that we have here, it also connects to this family that we have as a club and those that we've known and those that we've known that have left us. So, Josh, thinking of you every day. Carl Banks, thinking of you every day. Parker, all those people. And it helps make moments like last night stick out even more. Because it's another step in the journey that we're all taking. And, you know, even when you're shedding a small tear of joy, as like last night, all that, it's great. But to all those people that aren't in this, that are like, God, they're not going to shut the fuck up. You're goddamn right. We're going to keep fucking going onward. Because that's who we are as a club. That's who we are as a community. That's who we are as human beings. I know I got Ascension on my mind tomorrow. I'm officiating the service at church tomorrow, and I got my mind going and all this stuff like that and thinking. So, y'all, we were on a journey last night. It was a joyous one. The journey continues. Keyword Saturday, 5 p.m. Phoenix Rising. You're going to come and fucking get it. The women start up. If you have any opportunity to go see these women play, do that. Even if you can't go, get involved. These people are sacrificing time, especially the college kids, especially the high school kids. Show them why this club, why this community is so fucking important to all of our lives. Like this thing is. And within all of that, within City, we're going to continue onward. Good night, and up the fucking City.
Wait, let me do it. Let me do Dennis's closing thoughts. Hold on.
Oh, yes.
I don't know, Sean. Red, he invited me on here, and before that, all I did was fucking lick paint chips, and
Oh, the beef is going to be on
now that Red's not doing the podcast, he's going to have more time to work on his Irish accent.
Which means I got to check out the... So, by the way, folks, just because also 451DET@gmail.com, because now I'm going to have to fucking look at that thing more. Damn it.
Thank you, fellas.
City till I die, say hi to the bad guy. Pretty gritty in the key, you see our flag fly. Chin check, cash tech, we came to sweep the leg. With all disrespect, LaRouche will bruise your head. 2012, the scene pop, we came to clean clocks. Your team is dream drop, we gave some mean knocks. Stomping on the comp, yeah, we chomping on the bit. Many came and went, but they ain't stopping none of it. Community built, community owned. Roasting foes coast to coast, leave your hope postponed. Spirit of Detroit.